Why doctors can't fix everything. The only reason is because they are humans, and they are not all-knowing, as life itself is a mystery. Physiologists, scientists, and psychologists have all tried to understand creation, but failed woefully. Medicine is a science, but healing is an art. Doctors are trained to diagnose, treat, and manage diseases, but they operate within the limits of human knowledge, biological complexity, and sometimes fate itself. No matter how skilled, compassionate, or determined a doctor is, there are barriers they cannot cross, mysteries they cannot solve, bodies they cannot save, and hearts they cannot mend. This is not a failure of medicine, it is a reality of life. Despite centuries of medical advancements, there are still diseases with no cure and conditions with no explanation. Doctors don't just fight death. They fight for dignity, for comfort, for every extra moment they can give. Even when they lose, they keep going. Because if they don't, who will? So why do doctors keep doing it? Why do they walk into hospitals every day knowing that more losses are inevitable? Because even in death, there is purpose. Sometimes they can't save a life, but they can make sure a person dies without pain. Sometimes they can't fix a disease, but they can give a family more time to say goodbye. Sometimes they lose a battle, but they learn something that helps them save the next patient. And sometimes, even in the worst moments, there is grace, a final smile, a grateful family, a reminder that, despite the pain, their work matters. For doctors, death is not just a possibility, it is an inevitability. No matter how skilled they are, no matter how advanced medicine becomes, there will always be patients they cannot save. And watching a patient die, especially one they have fought for, is a wound that never truly heals. This is where patients need to believe and see God as their only magician, healer, and savior. Imagine being sick, weak, and scared, going from doctor to doctor, test to test, only to hear everything looks normal. But you don't feel normal. You feel like something is wrong. This uncertainty is where faith becomes an anchor. When there are no answers, God gives peace. When the future is unclear, God gives strength. Case study: the man who was declared dead, but came back. Daniel suffered a heart attack and was declared dead for several minutes. Doctors were about to give up when suddenly his pulse returned. He later described seeing a bright light and feeling a deep peace, something he believed was a glimpse of heaven. His survival shocked the medical team. Science couldn't explain it, but Daniel knew God had the final say. Life and death are not in the hands of doctors. They belong to God alone. When medicine fails, God does not. When doctors have no answers, God still has a plan. When healing doesn't come, God gives peace.